Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Malcolm Plays here, and as you can tell, it's time for me to cover Gen 2 in terms of my Data Pack series. So yeah, I just explained it. I'm reviewing Gen 2, as in displaying and you know what you remember the first part of the series, okay? The Kanto one. You get the point. You might be wondering why these two are here. They're not. I'll get to this in a bit. Essentially. Now we're doing Gen 2 in fixing every Pokemon in Pixelmon Data Pack. Yeah. I'll get to why these two are behind me, but for starters, let me just, I guess, say thank you to that one. There's a comment on my last video, and I want to say thank you for that comment. I appreciate your support. Last video. Oh, and I'm really thankful that I got a comment after so long on a more recent video. Anyways, besides that, yeah, here we go. These are all the Gen 2 Pokemon I'm updating and fixing, and I know what you're thinking. Why aren't Feraligatr and Meganium up there? Well, it's because I'm waiting for these two to have their Megas in Pixelmon before I do that. So I'm just going to cover both of them now while doing the intro, which is just, like, moveset changes for both of them, which will be, like, Draco Meteor for Feraligatr and Moonblast for Meganium, because both of them just, well, they just need better, well, Meganium needs a better fairy move other than Dazzling Gleam, and Feraligatr just, he has a Dragon Mega, I'm going to give him that, yeah, so... Yeah, I'm just saying those two are honorable mentions in this video because of the fact their Megas aren't in Pixelmon yet. So once they are, they're going to be in the Gen 2 update as well for my Data Pack. So yeah. Anyways, I guess I'll just cut to me in post, future me, going through all these Pokemon one by one, as I did last episode. Read off their changes, take breaks in between so that we don't have to breathe as much as I did last video. And yeah, I'll see you all in just a second. Okay guys, let's get this started, I guess. So, now that the fact that we're doing Gen 2 means we're going to start off with the first Gen 2 Pokemon, as expected. Anyways, so, the first Pokemon on the list is, well, Typhlosion. And it doesn't get any big changes, except for the Hoenn abilities. So, with normal Typhlosion, it's going to get Berserk instead of Flash Fire. And with Hisuian Typhlosion, it's going to get Shadow Tag instead of Frisk. Because I feel like both those would just be a lot better for Typhlosion in the long run. So, I just feel like that would be better off as a alternative, since I don't really get why Frisk on Hisuian Typhlosion. I don't get it. Anyways, okay, so as I said, next up is Noctowl. So for Noctowl, I gave it access to Icy Wind, because I think that would be a good move to help out in the long run. But I also did some other changes. For example, I gave its defense stat 10 extra points, making it 60. So, not a big buff, but I also gave its special attack 20 points, making it 106. So, it'll hit a little harder. Now, I didn't really do anything in regards to abilities or anything like that for Noctowl. Well, and I'm just double checking something very quick. And yeah, okay, that was the only thing I changed. Okay. Next up is Ledian. Now, Ledian, all I did was change up its base stat total and everything. So, as for Ledian did get some buffs, as I said. And I did rearrange a lot of its stats because I wanted it to be more equal to that of Beedrill and Butterfree, where their highest stat was like 90 for Beedrill and Butterfree. So, what I did was make its special defense 90, so minus that, so that's kind of a drop, but no big deal. its HP is 70, its attack is 60, its defense is 65, its special attack is 60, and its speed is now 80. So it's a tad slower, and not as bulky especially, but it's now a tad bit more evened out, because I feel like that would make a lot more sense than whatever we're thinking with this, because this feels more like a early route Pokemon that, let's be honest, doesn't really do its job right, because, like, let me be honest, this is a very weak Pokemon, but it has its charm. So yeah, I rebalanced all of Ledian's stats. There's not really any other big changes to go about with that one. Next up, okay, so next up is Ariados. Now for Ariados, I more or less just buffed its stats like the previous ones. So its defenses are now both 85 and its special attack is now 70. So that way it can make more use out of its special attack, even though it's not a big boost in it. It's not 90 like its physical attack, but at least it's usable. Then 60, it's more usable now, so that means it gets a lot more benefits from Psychic, Sludge Bomb, and Signal Beam, I guess. So that's pretty good, to say the least. And yeah, not really much to say about Ariados. Like the design, just if they gave Ariados another evolution, it would be cool. So next up on the list is Lantern. Now Lantern did get a couple of changes. And I need to go to a specific move pool very quickly, because we're going to start off with that, because more recent editions use this move pool than anything. So, okay, we are here and now. Okay, so the changes I made to Lantern are a bit simple. So instead of learning Takedown at level 48, it now learns Signal Beam, which they took it away from it in Gen 4, in Gen 5, I think. And it hasn't been able to learn it since, unless it's by tutor. So now it's back into the move pool, and it feels nice to see that again, because honestly, I feel like it's one of the few moves that actually makes sense for it, because, like, you know, the lights can make a signal and everything. And I also gave it access to Tail Glow at level 60. So yeah, it's a bit more of a monster, or with now getting +3 special attack boost on a single turn. But now let's move on to the bigger change, that being stats, because of course I'm buffing stats. Let me be very honest with you. Lantern needed this stat buff, because just like Tropius, Lantern's one of those Pokemon, like, it needs to be better, or despite the fact it looks cool, because it's like one of only a few water electric Pokemon, and it should benefit from that. So anyways, so for the stat changes, it's mostly just special attack and special defense, with its special defense going up to 86 and its special attack going up to 106. So now it hits a little harder. No, it hits a lot harder, actually. And it's a bit more specially bulky. And I also did boost its physical defense to 68, so that way it's still, like, yeah, it's more weak to physical moves, but still, like, not bad-ish. It's more in the middle, like, of alright. So yeah, it would just make it a much better Pokemon, to say the least. And next up is Pichu. Now, the interesting thing is that Pichu has the same buffs as Pikachu, but a tad different. I'm still going to read them off, but just use Pikachu as a comparison for this, because, like, you can just watch the last video and compare the two here. So sorry, keep that in mind. So first off, Pichu now has 30 HP instead of 20. It now has 60 base attack instead of 40, 35 physical defense instead of 15 defense, 65 special attack instead of 35 special attack, 40 special defense instead of 35 special defense, and the speed stayed the same. So it got a lot of buffs to make it a bit more stronger and feel more like a first stage. I get Pichu's a baby Pokemon, but I just feel like this would make Pichu a little bit better. I know it doesn't really help it out much, because you will just evolve it into Raichu, But I just feel like Pichu kind of need to be more on par with Palmy, because I don't get it. Like, how come this like Pikachu clone who evolves like Pichu to Pikachu and Raichu just, I feel like the three of those need to be more evened, and since Raichu has Megas, I'm not going to buff Raichu, so I'm just going to buff Pichu instead. I know, kind of a weird choice, but yeah, we'll go with that. Anyways, next up is one of the most obvious choices to buff, and that is Ampharos. Now, Ampharos does get access to Draco Meteor, no surprise there, has a Dragon Mega, but I did change some of its stats a bit. For example, now Ampharos has 90 defense instead of 85, which not a big change, but it also has 20 extra points in special attack, making it 135, which sounds a bit excessive, but also it just seems right to make it that strong, because honestly, like, yeah, 115 special attack's not bad, but 135 just, it makes it feel so much better. It makes it hit so much harder than it, and you get the point. Just Ampharos needed to hit harder. And same goes for Mega Ampharos, but not in the way you think. I did buff Mega Ampharos a little by raising his speed by 20 points and boosting his defense by 10 points. So now his defense is equal to his special defense, and his speed is now 65 instead of 45. So, kind of works in a way. Like, I get all that hair is supposed to be slowing him down, but I feel like because he's now part dragon, he gets the strength to move around even with all that fluffy hair and everything. So, yeah. Okay, next up is Sudowoodo. So for Sudowoodo, I, again, only buffed his stats, including a bit of a useless one, but here we go. So his special attack is now 40 instead of 30, which, again, not really necessary, but you have to hear me out on this. His special defense is now 75, and his speed is now 50. Now, the reason why I buff Sudowoodo this way is not only to make him a tad bit bulkier, with, being weak to water and grass and stuff, but also to make him slightly faster when paired with Rattled, which not only works for him, but also a pitcher or someone who is only running with 30 speed can't really run out of the rain quick enough, which is why I feel like Sudowoodo would do in the wild. So I picture him just sprinting. I don't picture him like running very slowly. I picture him just sprinting, despite the fact he's made of rocks. I feel like he can run really fast. So yeah, I boost his speed to fit that and also be better suited with Rattle, and then also buffed his special defense, like I said. So yeah, anyways, next up is a Politoed, which doesn't get the same treatment as Poliwrath. They just get a stat change, that's it. Poliwrath like needed Jet Punch and Wave Crash, whereas for Politoed, they have Drizzle, Weather Ball, Ice Beam, Hyper Voice and stuff like that. Politoed has a lot going for him, but I feel like Politoed could be a tad bit stronger. So, I buffed its special attack to 115, which is the same as Ampharos before I changed it, but like 115 special attack on a Politoed just feels right. I don't know why, because I feel like he needs to hit as hard as Poliwrath is supposed to be in order to compare the two. Like Poliwrath should have like over 100 attack, and Politoed should have over 100 special attack, so it makes them a bit more even in that sense. Okay, next up is Jumpluff. Now, for Jumpluff, I'm pretty sure... Okay, I need to find the right moveset that we're comparing this to, so give me a moment to find it, because Pixelmon has like certain Pokemon still using Gen 7 move pools, some are using Gen 8 move pools, and it just mixed around and everything, so I have to make sure I'm comparing my notes. Let me just see here. And yeah, okay, they're using the Scarlet Violet moveset. Okay, so Now, I'm pretty sure the only thing I changed was stats. So, in doing that, I basically buffed its attack and special attack to 65. Which I know that doesn't seem like much, but it makes them hit a tad harder, which at first doesn't seem that big of a deal until you are put to sleep by it, and then you get a acrobatics to your face. Yeah, that's the whole point. The whole point is to make him more powerful in comparison, because let me be honest, Jumpluff doesn't like have the highest attacking stats. It's more of a support Pokemon. So by buffing these attack stats, it makes it a tad bit more useful with like Giga Drain and acrobatics, but also still being that support role of like putting people to sleep, poisoning Pokemon with poison powder, stun spore, or to paralyze. I feel like it needed to hit a little harder. That way, it's not a one trick-esque thing, or it just needed to hit a tad harder. That's all I'm saying. And even though it's not like 70s, in the attacking stats, I need it to stay its essence while also giving it a tad bit more. However, that is not the same for Sunflora, because Sunflora, on the other hand, doesn't get that. It has a lot more stat changes than Jumpluff. So, starting off, its attack is now down to 50, which is a bit weird, but also it's more of a special attacking Pokemon. It's perfectly fine. Its HP is now 80, its defense is now 75, its special attack is now 115. The special defense stays the same, but its speed goes from 30 to 80. This was a necessary change, because paired with Chlorophyll, it now could be a sweeper of sorts. With solar power, it can now hit a tad harder with that 115 special attack, which, oddly enough, would make it comparable again to Ampharos and now Politoed, so kind of funny there. But the main point of buffing Sunflora was to make it less mediocre and more on par with like a middle stage Pokemon, if not like a Zangoose level Pokemon, something that's a bit more powerful than it seems. So that's let me be honest, it just needed to hit harder. And next up is Quagsire, which seems strange at first to buff, but I need you to hear me out. Ever since Clodsire was introduced, Quagsire has not been as useful as Clodsire. Which is why I decided to rearrange all of Quagsire's stats to be on par, if not a counterpart to... For some reason I could not say Clodsire. I don't know what that noise was, but I couldn't say Clodsire. The point is, I'm trying to make Quagsire more comparable to Clodsire, so that way they're more opposites, but also comparable to one another. So, starting off, the speed did not change, it's still 35, special attack, still 65, but now, Quagsire's HP is 115, his attack is 105, his defense is 100, and his special defense is now 60. So, let me be honest, it will get one shot by a grass move regardless if its special defense was 60 or 65. But when you have like Amnesia or Assault Vest, it will help out. Same with like a Rindo Berry or becoming a different Terra type if they ever introduced Terastallization in Pixelmon. But with these stats, I feel like Quagsire can be a bit more physical based, while with like the defense and everything. Whereas for Clodsire, maybe I change it up to be more special defensive, but still use physical attack. So yeah, there's that. Now next up is Steelix. Now with Steelix, it's kind of an interesting choice to buff because Steelix is already really good. I mean, 200 defense. Not gonna lie, not much really to change there. But I did buff Steelix's attack to 105. so that way it hits a little harder, because 85 attacks not really doing much. Like, I get it if you have like body press and hard press, but you need to do more damage like earthquake, dig, bulldoze, etc. That way you can compensate it for being slow and a bit fragile to special attacks. And I feel like Steelix needs to hit harder than Onix, and since I buffed Onix to have 70 attack, I should change Steelix to have higher than at least 100. But for Mega Steelix, I also had to buff its attack as well, because it was the only thing I could really change. So its attack is now 145, which is really good, and helps out with that. No, not good physical attack that original Steelix had. So now having 145, really good, really good. Now, the last Pokemon on the list. Now, I'm surprised to say that this was the last Pokemon choice, which is Magcargo. Like, I could have buffed any other Gen 2 Pokemon, but honestly, some of them are either too gimmick-based, or I can't really think of a good buff for them. Some examples of Pokemon I can't really find a good buff for are like Octillery, Mantine, Skarmory, and Houndoom have Mega Evolutions. Donphan just feels perfect. Delibird has a gimmick. Kingdra, I don't really want to make you a pseudo-legendary, let me be honest. Smeargle's a gimmick. Stantler got an evolution. The Hitmons are all kind of equal to each other. I don't want to buff Miltank. I don't want to buff Blissey. The legendaries feel fine. Probably do something else with them anyways. So the last Pokemon I can really think of to buff is Magcargo. And while I could give it something broken like Water Absorb, which makes no sense, or something to make it more resistant to water attacks, or heck, even make a new ability from scratch if I were to learn it, I just kept the thing simple and gave it a stat change for the finale of Johto, I guess. I know it's not the most impactful Pokemon, but Magcargo is one of those Pokemon that like it needed something at least. So what I suggested was buffing it a tad bit more defensively and offensively. So, it now has 10 extra points in defense, special attack, and special defense. So it's now 130 defense, 100 special attack, and 90 special defense, while also boosting its HP to 70. So hits a tad harder, takes hits a bit better. Still gonna probably get one shot by a Surf in the process, but in the end, it's Magcargo, and I actually just really hope they buff like here's a buff that should be made to Magma Armor, and that's that Magma Armor takes half damage from water attacks. I feel like that would be something that would have been a good buff, because no one really likes having Magma Armor because it just prevents you from being frozen. So I feel like it should also half damage from water attacks. So if someone could make that a change, Magma Armor would be really good for like any Pokemon that with it. Like just halving damage, so its quad weakness becomes just a normal super effective weakness and not times 4, but stays at times 2. I feel like that would be cool. But yeah. Anyways, we're going to go back to Past Me, who is currently doing the outro. So again, if you guys have any ideas on how to buff certain Pokemon, like the ones I said earlier, then let me know. And I guess I'll see you in Hoenn, as my past self will say. So yeah, Past Me, do the outro. Okay guys, thank you all so much for watching the video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I know this was a bit more short than the other video. I don't know. It probably will be. There's not as many Pokemon to cover, since most of them are just alternate forms and such. But yeah, anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hype the video, etc. And next week is Gen 3, I guess. So yeah. yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Again, thanks to, I'll put a picture kind of like in the top left corner, top right corner. Thank you for commenting. Honestly, hearing not hearing, but reading those words is just, it gives me encouragement. I really, really want to say thank you, much to this person for that comment. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe if you comment something in any of the videos, I'll leave it in the corner. So yeah. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, see you for Hoenn next week. Bye.